Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Rochelle Reed James. I will be your Master of Ceremonies for this afternoon. I now invite you to stand for the procession of the flags. Thank you. We'll remain standing while I invite Mr. Daron Maitland to lead us in the singing of the Jamaican national anthem.
Eternal Father, bless our land. Guard us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil paths. Be our light through countless hours. To our leaders, great defender, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love. Teach us true respect for all. Stir response to duty's call. Strengthen us the weak to cherish. Give us vision lest we perish. Knowledge send us, Heavenly Father, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love.
Thank you. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the third Youth Climate Change Conference under the theme, or climate, or voice, or change, advancing youth action through partnerships for global impact. We would all have seen the videos, and if you are a citizen of the social media, you would also see posts and tweets and shots on Instagram and other platforms about Hurricane Irma and her companions, and the devastation that Irma meted out at a number of countries in the Caribbean and North America was not anticipated at all. You will agree, right? You would agree. And we can all say as well that the chosen theme, or climate, or voice, or change, boldly signals that we as youth want to increase awareness, increase attention, increase interest in issues surrounding climate change, so that there is a greater understanding of the need for personal action to combat this phenomenon. We're further voicing our commitment towards playing our part in ensuring that more climate-sensitive decisions are taken at the policy level and corresponding actions taken within our own communities. As an alum of the Youth Climate Change Conference, I can speak for all of us when I say we see this event as an opportunity to advance efforts towards protecting our future, securing our common destiny, and taking individual and collective action around climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to these proceedings, and we're going to move right into our greetings. First, we invite Mr. Carlton Collins, a Youth Climate Change Conference alum, also a past student of the Monroe College, and a Caribbean Youth Environmental Network member. I invite you to welcome Mr. Carlton Collins.
Master of Ceremonies, Mrs. Rochelle Louis James, the Honorable Floyd Green in his absence, State Minister in Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Ms. Yoko Ebisawa, Project Manager of the Japan-Caribbean Climate Change Partnership, Rebecca Robinson, Acting Mission Director of USAID, Mr. Bruno Puzat, UN Resident Coordinator, ladies, and I should add, Mr. Shinozaki, who is the Second Secretary of the Japan Ambassador. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. As short as life is, we can make it shorter if we continue to live without giving the care and concern that our environment needs. Inarguably, our global climate is changing. The rate of this change is unprecedented and has been significantly triggered by human activities. I'd like to share a story with you. A few years ago, some scientists conducted an experiment involving a little frog. In their lab was a vat of steaming, boiling hot water. They wanted to determine how the frog would react when dropped into the vat. Armed with their white aprons, clipboards, pencils, goggles, and rubber gloves, they held the squirming little frog over the vat. Focusing intently on what they were about to do, they dropped the frog. Zing! Faster than a bolt of blazed lightning, that little guy burst into the air, careening off the ceiling. The scientists murmured amongst themselves. They did it again. Same frog, same vat of steaming water, and zing! It blasted from that vat like Usain Bolt in a 100-meter race. The scientists murmured amongst themselves again, recorded their notes, and decided to take the experiment a step further. They took the same frog and held it over a different vat of water, only this time the water was lukewarm, not too cold, not too hot, just right. They dropped the frog and nothing. The little guy just lay there, floating lazily, arms and legs splayed gently on the water's surface. You can just imagine the frog's thoughts. Man, this is all right. This is perfect. The frog laid in the water contented, happy, and relaxed. But what the frog didn't know was that underneath the vat was a raging fire. It was slowly but surely heating the vat of water. The contented frog, oblivious to the changing temperature, boiled to death. End of story. What a horrible story, right? I mean, poor frog. But what can we learn from this story? It has been said that knowledge equips one to act in accordance with his conscience. So has been my experience with JA Reach and the YCCC over the past 3 years or so. The best part of a conference has been the enthusiasm it brought about climate change advocacy among my colleagues and I. It awakened in us a sense of responsibility to our Mother Earth, to adapt and mitigate against climate change, and we were transformed into climate change advocates. Following the conferences, my peers and I continued to be actively engaged in climate change advocacy, in essay competitions, tree planting initiatives, and even putting on our own events such as Energy Conservation Day and Water Day. Many individuals in today's society are like this little frog. When the effects are obvious, they respond immediately and urgently in order to protect themselves from the impending danger. However, when the effects are not so obvious, less care and concern is given. They treat their environment with scant regard, damaging our natural resources and pumping greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, unawares that slowly but surely climate change is being sped up and the effects becoming more and more apparent. Just last week, I received an image on my phone of the Caribbean area featuring 3 systems in the Caribbean area, Katia, Jose, and Irma, just days after Harvey wreaked havoc in Texas. These are the effects of climate change that I'm talking about. We, the youth, are the inheritors of this world, all the things that are right and all the things that are wrong. We will be the inheritors of this climate crisis, and so must be given ample opportunities to be fully engaged in all aspects of climate change management. As climate change advocates, our job has been and continues to be to sensitize our colleagues of the effects of climate change that might not seem so obvious. We have to be that warning voice. This has been my motivation over the past few years. We have a responsibility to make this a global effort, to make it a hot topic. Let us encourage recycling, preservation, reforestation, the use of renewable energy sources, and the care of our environment. The Youth Climate Change Conference has been providing the perfect opportunity for us, the youth, to be fully engaged in sharing our ideas and making plans towards climate change mitigation. As we prepare for yet another staging of YCCC, let us make the resolution today to not be like this little frog, enjoying the current comfort, oblivious to climate change, but be proactive and motivated in this cause. With climate change, we must change. YCCC 2017 provides another opportunity for more youth to be educated and energized to be the change in climate change. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Carlton. So we will be the change in climate change. Next, we'll have Ms. Yoko Ebisawa, Project Manager for the Japan-Caribbean Climate Change Partnership. Welcome her.
Thank you. I acknowledge Mr. Bruno Puzat, UNDP Resident Representative, Ms. Rebecca Robinson, Acting Mission Director, United States Agency for International Development, Ms. Una-May Gordon, Principal Director, Climate Change Division, Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Mr. Hideki Shinozaki, Secretary of Embassy of Japan in Jamaica, Mr. Carlton Collins, CYN members, and Mrs. Rochelle Ray James, Jamaica's Youth Ambassador to the United Nations, other UN representatives, development partners, government partners, civil society organization, member of the media. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to be with you today for the launch of this Youth Climate Change Conference. As a co-organizer of this event, UNDP's Japan-Caribbean Climate Change Partnership is looking forward to seeing you again the next month for this actual conference. Japan-Caribbean Climate Change Partnership, we call it JCCCP, is a regional initiative officially launched in January 2016. The project covers 8 countries, including Jamaica. Others include, there's a beautiful flags here, the Belize, Dominica, Grenada, Cooperative Republic of Guyana, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Suriname. The project is funded by the government of Japan with a total resource of $50 million equivalent. And the project is implemented directly by the UNDP. Climate change is recognized as one of the challenges which compounds inherent vulnerabilities in the Caribbean. It could significantly increase the risk of storms, floods, and drought, and threaten the region development, as we already discussed, like Irma. The JCCCP aims to support countries in advancing the process of inclusive, low-emission, climate-resilient development by improving energy security and integrating medium to long-term planning for adaptation to climate change within or aligned with improved development planning and budgeting processes. Interventions under the project will be made through the three outcomes. First, the project supports policy innovation through the development of a number of mitigation and adaptation policy documents. Second, the project implements pilot project at community level by transferring actual technology that is both low emission and advances climate risk management. We are now developing around 35 pilot projects in 8 countries. In Jamaica, we approved 3 projects which focus on water resource management as well as sustainable agriculture. And we are pleased to announce another launch of this pilot project tomorrow. Third, the project promotes South-South and North-South cooperation by sharing lessons learned among the target countries in the region, as well as transferring technology from Japan to the Caribbean communities. Under this outcome, we plan to host this youth climate change conference, as everyone here may agree that young generation would be the one who affect the negative impact of the climate change, and they are the one who can build resilience for adaptation to climate change. Through this conference, we hope that the Caribbean youth can share their own experiences and discuss on the climate change issues and raise the voice to the rest of the world, calling to pursue efforts to limit the temperature increase not only to 2 degrees Celsius, but further to 1.5 degrees. We are also pleased to invite students from Sophia University from Japan to this conference. We hope that their attendance will further contribute to their existing partnership with the University of West Indies. In this regard, we thank the Embassy of Japan in Jamaica to connect us to the Sophia University. We sincerely hope that the interactions among the Caribbeans, as well as interactions between the Caribbean and Japan during this conference, will be a memorable event for them and take action towards the low-carbon climate resilient development. Lastly, we really thank the government of Jamaica as a host country, as well as USAID-funded J-REACH project and Caribbean Youth Environment Network, and UNDP Jamaica office, and Sophia University was not there, but all these efforts to organize this event. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Ebisawa. I wanted to share something with you on global climate change. Global climate change has had observable effects in the environment. Glaciers have shrunk. Ice rivers and lakes are breaking up earlier than scientists could have ever predicted. Trees are flowering sooner. Effects that scientists predicted would happen in years to come are happening earlier now. Loss of sea ice, accelerated rise in sea levels, and we're having more intense heat waves. And for us in the Caribbean, we've had one of the hottest summers yet. I'm going to ask you to continue thinking about these things and also reflect on what you've heard from our speakers already. How will we, the persons who will be inheriting the climate future of the world, be responding to a lot of these phenomena? We'll now invite Ms. Rebecca Robinson, Acting Mission Director for the United States Agency for International Development. Welcome her.
All protocols observed to our distinguished guests from the United Nations, the Embassy of Japan, from UE, and from the J-REACH project. Welcome and good afternoon. It is truly an honor to be at the 2017 Youth Climate Change Conference, representing the United States Agency for International Development. Ladies and gentlemen, students and teachers, as many of you are aware, the overall goal of the conference is to foster an environment where Caribbean youth grasp climate change concepts and are empowered to take action. Climate is not just a Caribbean issue, it's an international issue and affects all of us. The United States has a strong record of reducing greenhouse gas emissions through technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. The United States continues to support a balanced approach climate policy that lowers emissions while promoting economic growth and ensuring energy security. It is critical that succession planning through the emphasis on young people to spearhead future action against climate change is vital for the continued development of developed and developing nations. Jamaican youth are responding to the call. This is evidenced not only by the high levels of participation in the previously held conferences in 2014 and 2015, but the continued formation of youth interest groups focused on climate change and environment issues at the local, regional, and international levels. And I will say that I'm going to interrupt in my speech here. I also went to a youth camp climate change activity this summer where we're reaching people at a very young age to see what is climate change. And so it starts from little and all the way up until adulthood. The increased mobilization by various government entities, nonprofit organizations, corporate bodies, and community groups and schools on both local and international fronts is commendable. These efforts employ innovative approaches to get young people involved in reducing the effects of climate change. Earlier this year, USAID, through the JAW-REACH program, formed a successful collaboration with the Jamaica Library Service, that's where I went, that resulted in 504 youth becoming involved in climate awareness efforts, and a further 219 young people being trained in climate response. You should be very proud. So this conference, therefore, provides the opportunity to connect with even more youth at varying levels who move towards influencing policy and implementing practical and sustainable actions in schools and communities in their respective countries. And let's not forget about the importance of partnership. We are encouraged by the partnership between the JAW-REACH and UNDP, JCCP, strengthening platforms to build advocacy around climate resilience. The international expansion of this event reinforces the significance of the global effort that is needed to surmount this development challenge. Brilliant and creative young minds from across the Caribbean region and in Japan will table issues, identify challenges, and devise solutions. At the end of this conference, these young people will have a greater understanding of climate change issues and how it impacts our communities, and will position themselves on the front line of climate change response through the application of advocacy skills they have gained. To the youth here today, I urge you to take advantage of this opportunity. Learn as much as you can and share the information that you possess with all of your friends and family in order to reap the positive outcomes. If you keep that information to yourself, it doesn't do any good, but if you share it with everyone around you, it will spread. And with that said, this year's staging at the conference, we envision an even greater success and even more secure future and quality of life with our next generation leading the charge. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Who knows their sustainable development goals? Don't be afraid to put your hand up. Okay, let me try something else. Who knows goal number 13? Yes, what is goal number 13? Yes, climate action. It actually says to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. So it's not just telling us to be aware of climate change. It's not just telling us to be cognizant of it. It's telling us to take urgent action. I will now invite Mr. Bruno Poisat, who is the UN resident coordinator here in Jamaica, and he is the UNDP representative for the region. Did I get it right?
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremony. You don't imagine how much of a relief it is that someone before me has said the magic words already, all protocols observed. So, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. It is my pleasure, on behalf of UNDP, to welcome you to the launch of the Youth Climate Change Conference 2017. And I extend a special welcome to all the youth here today in this room, and that's all of us, or joining us virtually. Indeed, we do not need the recent volley of Harvey, Irma, Jose, and Katia lurking in the background to convince us all that this is a special, relevant, and timely occasion. Forget hoaxes, alternative facts, and other science deniers. The effects of climate change are undeniably more visible. And if melting ice caps and more intense winter storms can easily be ignored from here in the Caribbean, extreme and persistent droughts, stronger and more dangerous hurricanes, and more frequent and hazardous floods affect all of the territories of the Caribbean with devastating impacts on life, property, and the environment. Overall, global temperatures are expected to continue to increase, and so will sea levels, causing coastal flooding and endangering millions of lives and livelihoods. Droughts threaten food security and the livelihoods of the many who rely on agriculture for income. So while these effects are becoming increasingly tangible, future generations will face the brunt of the impact of climate change. And if we mean it when we say that youth are the future, then we should make sure that they have an important voice at the table when plans are being made for the Earth they will inherit. The Sustainable Development Goals adopted by all UN member states speak to a future where responsible actions protect our environment, improve economic development for the benefit of all, and enhance social well-being. In particular, Sustainable Development Goal 13 calls for action to adapt to a changing climate, and this will require strategic and diverse partnerships as outlined under Sustainable Development Goal 17. And partnerships with youth from all walks of life will be literally vital. Current and future generations will benefit from the achievement of these important goals, and youth must play a major role in their achievement in the Caribbean region and globally. So the government of Japan and UNDP aim for significant impact in improving the capacity of Caribbean countries to mitigate and adapt to the impacts of climate change through the Japan-Caribbean Climate Change Partnership Project. And youth is an important target group within the project. The partnership between the government of Jamaica, Japan, the Japan-Caribbean Climate Change Partnership Project, and USAID's JAREACH project to host this regional youth climate change conference is one intervention focused on engaging youth around the issues of climate change and on helping them build knowledge and advocacy skills. Our hope is that once empowered to find and project their voice, youth across the Caribbean will take their place and be heard in decision-making at all levels, including on the ground where practical interventions occur. So thank you again for joining us to launch this conference. We hope you too will find ways to engage in protecting and preserving our spectacularly beautiful planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poisat. Now we will move to the video highlights, and we'll invite Miss Khadija Stewart from the Westwood High School, alum from the Westwood High School to present that. Thank you.
Master of Ceremonies, Mrs. Rochelle Reed James, the Honorable Floyd Green, in his absence, the State Minister in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Ms. Ebisawa, the project manager at the Japan-Caribbean Climate Change Partnership, Rebecca Robinson, acting mission director of the USAID, Mr. Puizat, the UN resident coordinator, Mr. Shinozaki, the second secretary, representing the ambassador of Japan. Ladies, gentlemen, good afternoon. YCC 2017 involved 2 days of presentations, discussions, competitions, and exhibitions by youth aimed at facilitating knowledge sharing, encouraging the search for solutions, and defining specific youth-led actions in response to climate change. The event brings together youths from 8 Caribbean countries, including Belize, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Suriname, as well as Japan, to deliberate on issues surrounding climate change. As youths, we recognize the need to act now on climate change, to secure this earth we call our home. The climate trends impacting Caribbean countries are clear. Our Japanese counterparts are being affected in similar ways by even more of these climate trends. They will be sharing with us at YCCC 2017 about their experiences and their efforts to respond to the challenges. It is no secret that Japan is an immensely technologically advanced country. Their participation in YCCC 2017 is significant in terms of the opportunity it presents for knowledge sharing. YCCC 2017 will seek to increase the capacity of youth to advocate for climate-sensitive policies and actions, from the levels of communities right up to government, through the climate advocacy training that will be delivered to some 50 participants. Also, a collective statement from the Caribbean youth that will emanate from the conference will serve as a roadmap for youth action, against which they will be judged. Finally, there are a host of trophies and prizes to be won by institutions and individual participants and teachers. There will be an award for the educational institution or youth organization which receives the most points across all the competitions. Prizes will include cash awards, vouchers, tablets, and agricultural supplies. 3 delegates from the 8 participating countries will have the opportunity to go to the Conference of Parties 22 in Germany. Let us now look at the previous stagings and expectations for 2017 on the screen projected.
Hundreds of students from schools right across the island out in their numbers for the inaugural Youth Climate Change Conference. Debates, exhibitions, performances, and lots more.
Discussing the ideas of climate change to stimulate interest and dialogue among youth on climate change and its impacts on Jamaica's key social and economic sectors.
Let the debates begin.
My defeated opponents, without an healthy environment, can they be? Can they be? No, they can't.
Our young debaters who are certainly passionate about their sector's needs. But do they have you convinced?
The outfit is made from garbage bags, juice box, and banana chip bags. The belting is made from broom strands.
As young people, you are capable of participating in and changing the society in which you are all valued members. As such, you have an important role to play in addressing and affecting the issues of our world, including the factors that contribute to climate change. Very important.
As it relates to climate change, there are many different factors that we must take into consideration, but probably first and foremost is actually information. As you know, that knowledge is power. So if we can inform this generation of what climate change is and the role it plays in our future, then I believe that that is the first step. With the new generation upcoming, they're very involved in technology, and if they can use that technology, then we will be better off in 10 to 20 years' time.
It is important that government continue the conversation surround climate change with persons with disabilities, and that can be done by having more workshops to include them.
And through the language of signing, the deaf community shared their views.
There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love, and this place is much brighter than tomorrow.
One of the solutions I think we should really push is that the point where they said that public sectors and private sectors should be involved. That really shows that the whole country is, coming together, public and private, to really solve this issue, even though it can't really be solved, but to slow it down and to get things on the right track.
So to Jamaicans out there, students, parents, everyone, just help to make a change. Teamwork makes the dream work. So each of us have to do our part in order to make everything work out in the end.
I'm Kellyanne Ponal, a 24-year-old passionate environmentalist living in Jamaica, and we're here today at the Palisades Strip, where we have one of the major dikes that protect our city from flooding.
The Jamaica Climate Change Youth Council is one of the many youth volunteer organizations working to build climate resilience in Jamaica. As young people, it is our responsibility to protect our future by participating in initiatives such as the Youth Climate Conference 2017 in order to advance youth action for partnerships to achieve global impact.
Hello everyone, my name is Nurafni Salons and I'm from Suriname. This year, I will also attend the Youth Climate Change Conference in Jamaica from the 10th to the 12th of October. I'm looking forward to represent my country at its best, and I'm also looking forward to meet new people, learn a lot from the conference, and experience all the beauty that Jamaica has to offer. I will see you all very soon. Bye!
Hi, I'm Irene. I was born in Japan and raised up in Gifu, which is outside of Tokyo and surrounded by beautiful rivers and mountains. We as youth are in the in-between social position where we're not an expert, yet those younger generations look up to us. So I believe this is our responsibilities to them to raise our voice and take action. We are so excited and looking forward to see you in Kingston.
Thank you for your attention, and we look forward to YCCC 2017. Thank you.
I really enjoyed that presentation. Did you enjoy the video? Good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to apologize for the absence of the Honorable Minister Floyd Green. However, in his absence, Mrs. Julia Smiley Green, another Green, will be offering the keynote address. Mrs. Green?
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to take the opportunity before I deliver the minister's remarks just to apologize again for his absence. He had every intention to be here, but he has been called to attend to some very urgent government business, and therefore he has asked me to fill in for him and to deliver his remarks. So I'll be doing just that. Mrs. Rochelle Reed James, Master of Ceremonies and Outgoing Youth Ambassador. Mr. Bruno I hope I get the name right, you may have to help me with it. United Nations Resident Coordinator and UNDP Resident Representative. Ms. Rebecca Robinson, Acting Mission Director, United States Agency for International Development. Ms. Yoko Ibasawa, Project Manager for the Japan-Caribbean Climate Change Partnership, Mr. Carlton Collins, YCCC alumnus, Monroe College and YN member, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. First, may I express my appreciation to the team at the USAID and the Jamaica Rural Economic Ecosystems Adapting to Climate Change 2, Jamaica Reach 2 project, for the invitation to address today's official launch of the 2017 Youth and Climate Change Conference. This is among the most important projects involving youth that will have a long-lasting impact not only on Jamaica and the Caribbean, but the world in the medium to long term. It is one that empowers our young people to play a crucial role as change agents in heightening awareness about what needs to be done to bring about positive behavioral change. While there has been a growing awareness of how we all will be affected and are being affected, recent events would have brought home the reality more forcefully to our conscience of our growing vulnerability to climate change. The devastation of the coastlines in the northern Caribbean territories, Cuba, and the Bahamas by Hurricane Irma is but the latest reminder of the danger we all face. Human beings do not create hurricanes, nor can we stop them. What we can do, however, is change our behavior and attitudes that will reduce the most devastating effects that can accompany them. Climate change affects agricultural output, food security, and the rise in sea levels, the erosion of coastal zones, and the spread of vector-borne diseases, among other things. The well-documented incidence of global natural disasters made worse by human behavior will no doubt provide our young people more than enough examples to guide their presentations. This conference is therefore a welcome platform from which to demonstrate how their generation can address this most pressing of global challenges. This focus at the regional level is also of special importance for small island states such as ours, and for many of our Caribbean neighbors, this is literally a matter of life and death. So for 2 days next month, October 10 and 11, more than 600 young people from 8 Caribbean territories and Japan will gather here in Kingston for the 2017 Youth Climate Change Conference. This will be the third staging of the YCCC, and here our young people will have an opportunity to share their perspectives and recommendations under the theme, or climate, or voices, or change, advancing youth action through partnerships for global impact. Youth education and advocacy are therefore among the most effective tools to combat the effects of climate change and cultivate an international understanding among members of the next generation. This conference will therefore allow our young people to share their knowledge and increase their understanding of global climate change issues with specific emphasis on local and regional impacts. They will also be able to highlight examples of individual and institutional best practices led by youth, as well as share strategies and communication products from a youth perspective on how to increase their effectiveness in combating the negative impact of climate change. Our young people, more than ever, will play a bigger role in how our world adapts to these challenges. With youth, there's often innovation and optimism, especially where they have been given a supportive environment and opportunities. With this and other avenues for positive contributions by youth, we should expect that some of our more pressing problems will be addressed with creativity and insight. Young people are quite adept at spreading new habits, and technology at their disposal are well placed to contribute to the fight against climate change. Youth can quickly make lifestyle adjustments and career choices as part of their daily lives. And it is the youth of the country who have to do this, as they are the ones who are going to suffer the most in the future from the consequences of global warming. It is our young people who will determine the future direction of the world. For this, they must be fully aware about what is global warming and what needs to be done to prevent it. In many ways, they will have to connect the dots between past and present actions and future policy. We cannot afford to exclude their voices, as they are best placed to engage with their generation and the ones to follow. Young people can therefore play a key role in the crafting of policy through the process of consultation, advocacy, and negotiations. They should also be encouraged to see that their participation is heightened self-interest. With a changing job market, we can help them to look towards the opportunities that come from a shift in practices such as those to be found in wind and solar energy jobs. I am therefore happy to note and welcome the partnership of the United Nations Development Programs and the Japanese Caribbean Climate Change Partnership Project in the upcoming conference. The shared perspectives and partnerships should make for informative and enlightening discussions that lead to the implementation of practical action. The Ministry of Education, Youth, and Information is therefore happy to endorse the 2017 YCCC. We look forward to the conference deliberations as our young people get more informed, build networks of information sharing and action, and engage in practical action for theirs and future generations. We know that the problems now confronting the climate did not develop overnight, and we do not expect our young people to bring ideas and proposals to the table that can resolve them overnight either. What they bring to the table is the passion of their informed advocacy and creative ideas for solutions. We welcome their partnership and participation in the national, regional, and global discourse on environmental practices and climate change. I therefore look forward to a successful conference and the recommendations that will flow from it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Smiley Green. Ladies and gentlemen, we are just about at the end of our program. And I have been thinking about something that was said earlier. I've been thinking about Carlton's frog for the entire program, I must confess. And I'm going to encourage you to think about that frog as well, because we have to now make the decision, are we going to be that frog sitting down, waiting for things to get worse, or are we going to jump up and do something about it? If it even means like fanning the flame a little bit and all of that. Before I invite Shauna Steele to come, I want to share with you some hashtags, because this is a youth conference, and I'm going to encourage you to take pictures when we're through, and to tweet, and to post to Instagram using these hashtags: YCCC 2017, hashtag or climate, hashtag or voice, hashtag or change. And I'm going to repeat them. Hashtag YCCC 2017, hashtag or climate, hashtag or voice, hashtag or change. We invite you to continue to be a part of the conversation and to continue to be a part of the movement. I now invite Ms. Shauna Lee Steele, who is the 2017 National Gospel Festival Song winner.
Good afternoon, all. This is a very familiar song. I'm sure you know it, but I just want to remind us that we have a role to play in ensuring that the world is a better place, right? And there's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love. And this place can be much brighter than tomorrow. And if you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry. In this place, you'll feel there's no hurt or sorrow. There are ways to get there if you care enough for the living. Make a little space, make a better place, heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Oh, oh, oh. If you want to know why, there's a love that cannot lie. Love is strong, it only cares for joyful giving. If we try, we shall see. In this bliss we cannot feel fear or dread. We stop existing and start living. Then it seems that always love's enough for us growing. Make a better world, make a better world, heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. For there are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. For you and for me. For you and for me. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much, Shauna Lee. While it was not scripted, some people in the audience feel that it would be quite unfortunate not to hear her winning contribution to the festival song competition. And so I know, Shauna Lee, this is coming to you as a surprise, but of course, as your audience, you knew you wouldn't have gotten away with that. And so unfortunately, I'll have to invite you back because by popular demand, oh, see, it's not even me. You have to let us hear what you had contributed, to the competition. And so for those who are not aware, the Jamaica Festival Song Contest and the Gospel Festival Song Contest, this is part of our independence celebration, which is held annually. And so she did exceptionally well in being able to emerge as the winner. And as a student of geography as well, when we got that information, we thought this is the perfect match for someone who is talented and knowledgeable and concerned about climate change to also make a contribution to this event. So Okay, Miss Shauna Lee is trying to get the track. And so I'll take this opportunity to say thank you very much, everyone, on behalf of the JA Reach Project and on behalf of the Japan Climate Change Partnership for taking the time to share with us this afternoon. I know Minister Green's office, they were constantly speaking to us at late hours of the night because he was very eager to be here. He really wanted to participate. And so it is not an indication of how important this issue is or how he feels about it that he wasn't able to join us this afternoon. And I'm sure he will be at the conference itself in October. I'll make sure I hold him to that. So thank you all very much. Ms. Shauna Lee will entertain us once again.
So the name of my song is Arise Mighty Warrior, the competition, the JCDC Jamaica Gospel Song Competition. So I'm going to try to endure it. It's not the easiest song to sing if you're not in the best of health vocally, but there are so many dying souls in the world today, needing someone to show them the way. But there you are, hiding in your corner, though you see the need for one more soldier on the battlefield. You think you cannot make it in the army led by Jesus Christ. And even though he has been calling your name, fear causes you to resist his call. Arise, mighty warrior, do the work of the Lord. Arise, mighty warrior, your strength lies in God. The harvest is ripe, but the laborers are few. Heaven is counting on you. Arise, mighty warrior, do the work of the Lord. Arise, mighty warrior, your strength lies in God. The harvest is ripe, but the laborers are few. Heaven is counting on you. Warrior, arise. Get up, time is running out. It's time to answer the call. You don't have to be afraid, God's power's too great. Have the faith. There is no time to play around. You might just get left behind when the battle is over and God calls his servant home to rest. It's time to arise. Oh, arise. Said your strength lies in God. For the harvest is ripe, the laborers are few. Heaven is counting on you. You are a mighty warrior. It's time to arise, yeah. For the harvest is ripe, but the laborers are few. Heaven is. Said the army of the Lord needs you, yeah, yeah. Walk into your purpose, yeah. He's counting on you, warrior, arise, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shauna Lee. I'm a little confused because I didn't hear that same applause when Bruno was up here. I'm wondering if he needed to sing and dance. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you will all agree that if she did not sing that song, we would all leave here feeling quite cheated, right? So we invite you to meet some new people, talk about climate change, talk about our sustainable development goals, and mingle. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.